valid Ella modern schools in Lugokoma here to observe Senate proceedings. You are all welcome. Be seated. Any petition? Distinguished Senator Nwebwe.
Thank you, Excellency. I remain Senator Peter Onyekachi Nwebonyi, representing the good people of Ebonyi North Senatorial District of Ebonyi State. Your Excellency, before me is a petition from one of my constituents by name Professor Monde Igwe, who is claiming to have been unlawfully disengaged from his work as the Chief Medical Director of National Psychiatric Hospital, Enugu. Your Excellency, at present, there is no legal impediment. The matter is not in court. Hence, he is seeking the intervention of the Senate.
This is the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live from the National Assembly. I am Lami Ali. Today's plenary is being held in the remodeled chamber of the National Assembly. You may recall that the chamber underwent renovation for the last 20 months, and lawmakers, after resumption from the Easter and Ramadan break, resumed in the refurbished chamber, and that is where we are reaching you live. The President of the Senate, Senator Gatun Akpabio, is already seated and presiding over plenary. Lawmakers are at the moment presenting petitions from their constituents. And from what we see lined on the other paper, we have about 6 bills that are slated for first reading, while 4 bills are slated for second reading. Senator Emmanuel Udende is the one at the moment presenting a petition from his constituents.
The petition is hereby referred to the Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct, and Public Petitions to report back to the Senate in 2 weeks. Yes, distinguished Senator Ebonyi.
Thank you, the President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Anthony Ani. I represent the good people of Ebonyi South. Mr. President, I have a matter of urgent national attention, and if you permit, I stand under order 41 and 52. Should I proceed?
Yeah, just summarize what the petition is all about.
Sir?
Summarize what you have a motion on urgent national importance, right?
Yes, sir.
Give us a summary
Of the motion. The motion is on the demise of Dr. Boniono. It's sponsored by me. The Senate notes with a heavy heart the transition unto glory of...
You are looking for the leave of the Senate to proceed with the petition.
Yes, sir. That's why I said I wish to start.
We had actually referred one matter of urgent national importance yesterday from distinguished Senator Ashiru. Senator Ashiru, you want to yield the ground?
Since I was started, sir, let me continue.
Well, in view of the pathetic nature of this matter and the sadness that we all feel on the demise of this great icon, is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to quickly proceed with the motion? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So you may proceed.
Thank you very much, sir. The motion is on the demise of Dr. Ogboniono, CON. The Senate notes with heavy heart the transition unto glory of Dr. Ogboniono, CON, which sad event took place on the 11th of April 2024 after a brief illness at the age of 72. Senate also notes that Ono was born on the 1st December 1951 to the family of Eze David Abba Ono in Amata Oburu, Ohozra local government area of the then Eastern region, later Imo State, then Abia State, and now Ebonyi State, Nigeria. Further notes that he started his education at Izi High School in Abakaliki, now the Ebonyi State capital, and obtained grade 1 with distinction in his West African School Certificate examination. He also sat for the high school examination at College of Immaculate Conception, CIC, Enugu, graduating as the overall best student. He proceeded to the University of Lagos and graduated with a first-class degree in chemical engineering in 1976. Aware that after his graduation from the University of Lagos, Ogboniono became a teacher at St. Augustine Seminary, Ezambo, Ebonyi State. After the completion of his doctoral studies at the University of California, Berkeley, Ono became a lecturer at the Department of Chemical Engineering at the University of Port Harcourt, and later became the pioneer head of the same department. He also served as the acting dean of the Faculty of Engineering and was also elected as a member of the governing council of the same university. Also aware that Ogboniono started his political career as an aspirant for a senatorial seat in the old Imo State on the platform of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN. He contested for the position of governor of Abia State in 1991 under the umbrella of the National Republican Convention and won. He was sworn in as the first executive governor of the state in January 1992. Further aware that in 1999, he was the presidential flag bearer of the All People's Party, but relinquished the position to Olufalaye after a merger of his party with the Alliance for Democracy, who lost to Olusegun Obasanjo of the PDP. He was the national party chairman of All Nigerian People's Party in 2010. Recalls that he was the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation of Nigeria in the last regime from November 2015 until his resignation in 2022. Also recalls that in 2013, he and his party, AFPP, successfully merged with Action Congress of Nigeria, Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, Democratic People's Party, DPP, and some members of the All Progressive Grand Alliance to form the All Progressive Congress, APC. Further recalls that the late 72-year-old former minister contested for the presidential primary of All the Progressive Congress, APC, during the 2023 general election, but lost to the President Bola Tinubu. Notes also that he was a certified member of Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Engineering, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Chemical Engineers. In October 2022, a Nigerian National Honor of Commander of the Order of the Niger, CON, was conferred on him by President Muhammad Buhari. Concludes that we shall miss his amiable personality, brilliance, wisdom, and honesty. He was one of our very best. We are, however, comforted with the fact he lived a decent and impactful life and served God and humanity with all his might. And further regrets that his demise is a great loss to the family, to the people and the government of Ebonyi State in particular, and Nigeria in general. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, accordingly, Senate resolves to observe a mini silence in his honor. Number two, urge the federal government to immortalize him. And finally, send a delegation to condole with the family, the government, and people of Ebonyi State. I so submit.
Distinguished Senator Ojuzo Kalu.
Thank you, Mr. President. In supporting the motion of Professor Anne, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity, because Oboneyono was our governor and we were in the same party when we were in NRC. So he did his best as our governor, and he also did his best as a minister. Oboneyono will be remembered, particularly because when they had problems in their party, ANPP, he sacrificed to the nation when they said that all presidential candidates should come from the southwest of Nigeria. Oboneyono dropped his ambition to Olufalaye. So I think it's a very remarkable thing that he did in those periods. He was a committed Catholic. I go to the same church with him always from his house, and he was committed to people's welfare. I mean, when I was in the House of Representatives in 1991, he was the governor of Abia State, and we had a very good relationship. On hearing when he was in the hospital, myself and the cardinal proposed going to see him in the hospital, and they kidnapped somebody in Kubwa. So I allowed the cardinal. The cardinal already visited, and for us to go with Professor Okechukwu. And I allowed to go and release those people they kidnapped in Kubwa. And they went, and the next 2 days they died. So he was a good man. I would like to support the motion ably presented by Professor Anne, and urge my colleagues to celebrate this icon. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Izonaso.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues. My name is Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. Mr. President, I'm saddened today. I want to speak about the Oboneyono in the past, which is something that's very heavy for me to do. Oboneyono lived a very pious life. If there's anybody that will go to heaven, I'm sure Oboneyono will qualify to go to heaven. Mr. President, I want to recall.
Are you wondering whether some people will go to heaven?
You know, Mr. President, it's not everybody that can make heaven. The road to heaven is very difficult.
No comments. No comments.
Huh?
Because you said if there is anybody that will go to heaven, I said people will definitely go to heaven.
Yeah, people will go, but it's a very tedious road, Mr. President. We are working very hard to go to heaven.
Qualifies because
he qualifies to go to heaven.
He qualifies to be among those who among the rest of us who will go to heaven. That's
Well, Thank you, Mr. President. But what I want to say about Dr. Ogbonneonu is that he's a man of vision, a man of foresight. Today, we, members of the All Progressive Congress, will not forget Ogbonneonu in a hurry. Ogbonneonu was the architect of APC. I want to put it on record that it was Ogbonneonu's letter as the chairman of AMPP to the then chairman of CPC, chairman of AC, that eventually gave rise to what is today known as APC. So Ogbonneonu is the father of this APC that we're talking about. He initiated it. It was his idea. It was after Ogbonneonu fired that first letter to Chief Bisi Akande and Chief Tony Momo of the blessed memory that those two political parties with MPP now set up a committee in what was then known as the merger committee, where I also played a very prominent role as a member of the merger committee of the MPP, of the APC. Mr. President, Ogbonneonu's last outing, public outing, was at Eagle Square, when he cried for justice, when he cried for equity, when he cried for the unity of this country. It can only be a man like Ogbonneonu that can do that. I want to refer to what happened in Kaduna in 1991, when Ogbonneonu won as a presidential candidate of APP, but he was requested, they pleaded with him to drop that ambition for an election he had already won. But for the unity of this country, Ogbonneonu dropped it, and Olufalaye became the presidential flag bearer of MPP and contested with President Obasanjo that defeated Olufalaye. So the point I'm making is that Ogbonneonu lived a life of sacrifice all through his life. He sacrificed for the nation, he sacrificed for the Igbo race, he sacrificed for all the political parties that he belonged to. So I want to thank the mover of this motion, and I want to request that the federal government of Nigeria, as one of the prayers in this motion, should find a befitting edifice to immortalize Ogbonneonu's name. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Just too many people want to contribute, so we'll just make it very short. The next person is Senator Abamoro. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. It is indeed an honor to pay tribute to Dr. Ogbonneonu, who has come across to me as a perfect gentleman, a pious family person, imbued with humility and a great sense of responsibility. Mr. President, like water, Ogbonneonu didn't have an enemy. It was with great surprise and shock that I heard about the death of Dr. Ogbonneonu. My last contact with Ogbonneonu was via a text message when he sent to congratulate me as the minority leader, and with a promise that he will come to see me whenever he will come to Abuja, and I acknowledge that message. Mr. President, I think, like my colleagues have said, Ogbonneonu has contributed immensely to the development of Nigeria, and in the process made a lot of sacrifices, like many Nigerians may not likely do. And so today, we have lost a very great patriot, a nationalist, and a gentleman to the core. Our prayers, my prayers,
are with the family at this moment of grief, and I pray to God Almighty that He grants the family and friends and relatives the fortitude to bear this irreparable and irreplaceable loss. I wish that God grants him a place in His kingdom of eternal rest. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, distinguished minority leader. Let us have distinguished Senator Wamako.
Mr. President, Aliyu M. Wamako remains my name. Dr. knows. Mr. President, I rise to add my voice to this very important motion on the demise of our dear friend and brother, Dr. Obania Ono. Mr. President, much has been said and can still be said about Governor Obania Ono. What today or next tomorrow, without finishing, mentioning his virtues, his qualities, and what he stood for. Not only he was a true Nigerian. Served the nation in various capacities and with commitment and sincerity. Mr. President, I worked with him for some 30 years or more in different positions, and we're very close with him. And it's somebody I truly respect, somebody who deserves whatever qualification, whatever good thing you want to say about Obania Obano, maybe he even deserves more. As a friend, that's one thing I must recall about him. In the last dispensation when he was a minister, the entire PC government was people we came with, worked with in the formation of that government. But he was the first minister who took his phone and called me, Wamako, where are you? So I'm a secretary, please give me a level 8 officer for appointment into my ministry. I feel humbled. I feel so honored. Because he could have called somebody in Bakalaki or Omahia or somewhere else, but he called somebody and spoke to give him a level 8 officer for appointment into the ministry. That single act to me means that goes to confirm the kind of person Obania Ono is, the kind of gentleman, the kind of Nigerian the guy was in his lifetime. So I join all the good things that was said about him and the praise for his soul. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for the brevity of your speech. Distinguished Senator Abaribe.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Engineer Abaribe, and I represent Abia South. And like my former governor and colleague, Ojuzo Kalu, has said, Ogbonnaya was the first civilian governor after the military in Abia State when it was created. So many things have been said by our colleagues, and I fully endorse everything that they have said. And I just want to make 2 points. The first one is to remind us of the poem by Henry Longfellow, that lives of great men remind us to make our lives sublime, so that when departing, leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. I think Ogbonnaya has left footprints in the sands of time. Secondly, to remind Nigerians and all my colleagues to recall the words of Ogbonnayan at the last outing at the convention of the All Progressive Congress, where he asked the very great question, where is the justice? May his soul rest in peace. Amen.
Distinguished Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my dear distinguished colleagues. I'm Henry Siraki Dixon, and I represent Bayelsa West. Mr. President, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words to add to the deluge of wonderful statements of tribute on this occasion of the passing of one of our finest politicians and leaders in this country, in this generation. Mr. President, like most of us, I didn't know of any ill health. I had not heard about it, so I was shocked when I got the news of the passing of this wonderful statesman. It is clear, even from the comments so far, that whereas this deserving motion has been brought by the senator from Ebonyi State, and rightly so, this motion has the bipartisan and unanimous support of all of us in this chamber. But I would like to just make one or two statements to add to all that my colleagues have said. Mr. President and members of the chambers, Ogbonnayan honors public life, and it's verifiable. He lived a life of honor and integrity, a life of service. As governor of Abia State, he did so very well until the military truncated that regime. And Ogbonnayan honor at the formation, at the beginning of our democratic exercise. In 1998, at that time I was state chairman of the Alliance for Democracy, and later became the national legal advisor of the Alliance for Democracy. And he was our joint, he gave up his mandate. He had been elected as the presidential flag bearer of the APP, properly elected, because everyone believed in his capacity to lead this country. But following the discussions and the merger, when we were, as younger people, following the elders, we saw what happened. Once the merger discussions were finalized, the merger between the Alliance for Democracy and the APP at that time, Ogbonnayan Ono did a historic sacrifice for democracy. When this nation, because of the need to address the injustices emanating from the cancellation or the annulment of the Abiola's mandate, political leadership of this country decided, for national stability, to look at the Southwest, to commence the process of stabilizing our democracy. Ogbonnayan Ono, in recognition of that, made one of the greatest political sacrifices a politician can ever make in his career. Gave up voluntarily his presidential mandate that was validly given and allowed the alliance to now nominate our candidate at the time, our joint candidate at the time, in person of Chief Olufalaye, who is still alive.
He did that. And that struck some of us, younger generation, even at that time. When the elders mooted it, we were wondering, can they pull this through? Can a politician who has fought hard, built bridges, eminently qualified as any other one of his generation, can he live up that mandate? But Ogbonaya Ono made that historic sacrifice. And I do not think, Mr. President, that in his lifetime, Ogbonaya Ono was appropriately or as much honored as he deserved. And I also want to recall the efforts he made with his colleagues to set up an opposition party, which is now the current ruling party, to challenge our party. He, together with former President Buhari, current President Tinubu, then Ogbonaya Ono, in whose honor we are now discussing, and people like John Oyegun, Bisi Akonde, and others were very consistent in showing all of us the need for consistency and patriotism. So, Mr. President, on this occasion of his passing, I join in condoling the entire nation, but also the people of Ebonyi State and his family at his passing, and commend to all of us, political leaders, to learn from his life of patriotism and consistency and sacrifice. May his gentle soul rest in peace, and may this country continue to produce great statesmen like Ogbonaya Ono. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. You notice that you spoke more than the time allocated. The reason is that you are speaking on behalf of the whole South and a John nation. Yes, so let's listen to distinguished Senator Mongunu.
Distinguished Senate President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished senators, I'm going to give tribute to the late Ogbonaya Ono because of my close association with him as a member of the defunct All Progressive Party, and then subsequently as a member of the All Nigeria People's Party. In the course of my membership of these two defunct parties, I was privileged to have worked with him in various capacities, and I have closely observed that as a national chairman, he not only preached the gospel of internal democracy in political parties that has eluded some parties to the extent of instituting the culture of internal democracy in the All Nigerian People's Party when he was the national chairman. To that extent, he is a true Democrat that preaches the gospel of democracy in all its ramifications. And one thing that has endeared me to him, as rightly observed by Senator Saraki Dixon, is the fact that he let the fact that opposition parties need to coalesce into a single force with a view to wresting power from the People's Democratic Party that was in government. As a result of that fact, opposition political parties came together and were able to wrestle power from the People's Democratic Party, a feat that is thought can never be achieved. And as a result of that effort, today we are in government. This great feat should also be attributed to him, because he's one of those that champion and preach that cause that today the opposition party is in government. And Mr. President, distinguished senators, in life there is time to be born and there is time to die. In between is the time to serve. Late Ogbonaya Onu came, he was born, and today he is no more, but in between he has served humanity to the glory of God and mankind. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen. Distinguished Senator Goje.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Kanjuma Goje, representing Gombe Central and Gombe State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to join others who have spoken in paying tribute to a great Nigerian, great politician, great patriot. I never knew him on face-to-face basis until 2013, when we were discussing the formation of APC. Most speakers limited their talk to CPC, ACN, AMPP, and some even put ABGA, but they never mentioned a substantial faction of the PDP. I belong to that faction of the PDP that pulled out from PDP to team up with the other parties to form APC, which is now the ruling party. So we cannot say only opposition parties. Even part the ruling party pull out. Whatever it we call as we pull out, we are PDP, and we pull out from the PDP from this chamber, and we also join the other four groups to form the APC. His role in forming that party, APC, was commendable. He was the leader of the AMP group, and was a series of meetings with him. And as a gentleman, whenever he stood out to speak, people listened attentively, because he hardly spoke, and when he spoke to the point. And in most cases, what he suggested always was carried by the meeting. Mr. President, a lot has been said about this gentleman, but one thing I want to say is that he behaved far more than his age. I thought he was born in the early 40s. I thought he was much, much older than myself, but he was just only 1 year older than me. But by his behavior, he had always behaved as a gentleman, as an elder, as a leader. Yes. And I think that's why this hallowed chamber, and everybody wants to speak. Everybody wants to speak in his favor, because he deserves that. Not many people will get this kind of accolades across the country. So whatever we say about him, the good thing we say about him, he deserves more than that. Somebody raised a point, and I want to concur also. Given the role he played, one, 1999, why he stepped down for Olufalaye, which is very rare for any politician in this world to get a presidential ticket in a very big party. In fact, that time there are only two parties, NRC, and there were really PDP and APP. For somebody to step down from that, it was very close to the presidency, very, very close, and then he stepped down without any complaint. Up to date, nobody can quote him or saying anything bad about that alliance. It's very rare to we the politicians. And he did that. And also, in 2015, when we won the election, I want to say he should have been compensated higher than what he got. He have got something better than what he got as a mayor minister of science and technology. But he never complained. He worked closely with the government up to the end and continued to serve the APC up to his death. So on this score, I think whatever accolade we give him, he deserves that. May he. So I want to extend my condolences to the members of his family, to the people and government of Ebonyi State and Nigerians at large. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Ndume.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Mohamed Ali Ndume, representing Borno South. Our colleagues have spoken. Just want to add my simple voice to it, because God says the voice of the people is his voice. Obone Onu was a very good man, very gentleman. As the previous colleagues said, he was our national chairman of the ANPP, and he led the ANPP into alliance. He's one of the few Nigerians that I have known, I've seen, I've interacted with, that sacrificed his personal interests for national interests. That was clearly exhibited, as Senator Goji said, when he agreed to step down. When Nigerians are desperate to get PDP out, he stood down in the interest of the nation so that we'll have a better alliance that will be able to match. As I said, he was a complete gentleman. He was our national chairman when I decamped to PDP on sabbatical. He tried to keep me in ANPP then. But my people called on me to come and serve as a senator. He did everything to reconcile between me and my governor then. At the end of it, in my absence, he negotiated with my governor to allow me to contest for House of Rep. I was almost buying into it, but our people insisted that I should contest for the Senate. As at that time, we had no councillor in Borno State. PDP had no councillor in Borno State. Then I went back to him and told him that I would be willing to go back to the House, but my people want me to be in the Senate. It was then he reminded me of the word I started, that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Follow what your people say. He was a very strong Christian. And he said, though you are a Muslim, I want to pray for you before you leave. And he prayed for me in his office. And he said, go, you will prevail, because God will be with you. And I won. I came back to him to thank him for his fatherly advice. And he told me one thing, that he is not comfortable with ANPP anymore because injustice has invaded the ANPP. But he has a feeling that he will conduct the burial ceremony of ANPP. And that was what happened in Zamfara. May his gentle soul rest in peace, and may we have learn a lesson from what we are doing today. Do good, and good will follow you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Nwebwe. You may be seated.
Should I sit down, sir?
Yes, distinguished Senator Nwebunyi.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for this opportunity to join my colleagues to pay tribute to our elder statesman, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, late. Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, as we all know him, Your Excellency, was both a good man and a good citizen. As a good man, Your Excellency, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu was kind and loving to all manner of men. As a good citizen, he has made his notable contribution towards the development of our country and Abia State in particular, having served as a pioneer governor of Abia State. And he laid a formidable foundation for the development of Abia State. Your Excellency, having said this, it is therefore our prayer, jointly and severally, that the good Lord will forgive his shortcomings and grant him eternal rest. Amen.
Thank you. Distinguished Deputy Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I stand to pay tribute to a man of honor, a man of integrity, and a man who was very, very humble throughout his lifetime. He was a governor, and later, after passing through various offices he occupied, he became a chairman of a very big opposition party, yet he was very, very humble. I interacted with him when he was the chairman of AMPP, which I belonged. And you could see a man that was unassuming. When you didn't know him and you came across him somewhere, you wouldn't know that he was a chairman of a party, a former governor. You wouldn't know. And because of his integrity, his virtue of integrity, he made sure there was internal democracy in MPP. There wasn't anything like imposition in MPP then. And he did very well to key into a project that was initiated by the current president of this country, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that of creating the APC, because he initiated the process of the formation of APC. And Ogbonnaya as a chairman of APC and other leaders key into that. You know, he initiated it, Bola Tinubu initiated it together, then later brought in Buhari and former president, and other leaders were all invited to join that big project that is now the party, the ruling party of this country. He keyed into it, and he was one of those chairmen that willingly led their parties to dissolve those parties at that time, the legacy parties, to form the APC. He was the last chairman of the AMPP. When the process was on, he showed that he was willing to be part of the making of history of forming a party then, of course, the APC, that was able to wrestle power democratically away from the ruling party, which was the first in history. So he was part of that history, and he played a very, very good role. Mr. President, it will take hours to fully pay the necessary tribute by myself on this patriot, a man who lived a life of service to our nation, a man who was an epitome of humility, an epitome of credibility, an epitome of integrity. But there's no time. So I will, just at this juncture, pray or extend my condolences to his immediate family, to the people of Ebonyi State, and to the APC family, and to former members of the defunct AMPP, which I belong, and the entire nation. And I pray, finally, that may his soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Hanga.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would like to add my voice to sympathize with his family and Silawas. Dr. Obana Onu was my chairman once I was in ANPP, under which I served as a senator. He was quite a gentleman and an epitome of humility, like the Deputy Senate President said. I remember when there was a move to converge, to come together and form the APC. I was the national chairman of the CPC, the party I registered. I had differences with the leader then, General Mahmoud Buhari. They wanted my certificate, the certificate of the party for the coming together with other parties. I was dragging my feet to release the certificate for such reasons. Only two of them bothered to come to me. He sent his junior brother, same father, same mother, to me, that he was making a private visit to me. And before he came, the president came. Suaju Amola Bola Tinubu came to me, whom I knew since SDP. We were together in SDP. He was in the Senate while I was in the House of Reps. Suaju came and pleaded with me to release a certificate. Blah, 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 something I can't say now. So I said, okay, I'll consider it. When Onu came to me, my house, he was so humble, quite a gentleman. He came to me and pleaded with me to release a certificate. Please, for the country, not for anybody. I should forget about my differences with General Buhari or anybody. And the man was so good and gentle. I was so honored and moved that if these two political giants will come to me, I will have no reason to have any more quarrel on this release of certificate. So I released the certificate. This man was so good, so gentle, so humble, that when I released the certificate, he called me to thank me for that and assured me that I always have his respect. And I really miss him. He was so kind, so humble. And I continued to have a relationship with him even after we parted politically. His junior brother is now our vice chairman of Northeast. Southeast. The same father, same mother. The vice chairman of NNPP, the serving vice chairman of NNPP in the Southwest and Southeast. I really miss him. Nigeria missed such a gentleman. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hanga, yes, which certificate of which party?
Sir?
Certificate of which party did you release? Huh?
CPC.
Okay, you were in custody of the certificate.
I registered it and I was in custody for the certificate. I had quarrel with them. So when they came for this merger, I refused to release the certificate. And one of the conditions for this merger was certificate. And I said, no way, I will not release it. After all, I suffered to register the party. Nobody helped me. I went up and down to register it. I went all around the country to organize and register it. And the merger was shaking. So the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, whom I knew since SDP, we were in SDP together, we were in the same Eradua camp together, we knew each other. And when I had problem with the ANPP, I joined the AC, where I was a gubernatorial candidate in my state. So we knew each other very well. He came to me. He didn't assent for me. You see how humble that man too can be. I was his boy. He came to me and pleaded with me. And the same thing with Obana Onu. He came to me. So I released a certificate. I said it that I will do it for Nigeria, not for anybody, so that these people do not think I just release it for anything. I release it for these two gentlemen. Thank you very much, sir.
Let me thank my colleagues for all their contributions on the demise of this great man, Sir Obonaya Onu. Yes, some of us had to repeat ourselves over and over, but I allowed it because I know that this is one death that has touched almost all families in the country. If we did not listen to distinguished Senator Hanga, we wouldn't even have known that but for him there would have been no APC today. The simplicity of Obonaya Onu, his humble disposition, appeal to your conscience, and you then release the certificate of CPC for the merger to take place that has formed the mega party that we have today, the All Progressives Congress. So I also had a personal interaction with Obonaya Onu when I was a minister in the last administration. And he was a minister in charge of science and technology. He was very innovative. He was very simple, always smiling. I don't think the man in his lifetime had any enemy because he was friendly to all and always ready to concede and sacrifice for the good of the nation. So I want to thank all of us who have extolled his virtues today and paid tribute to the name of this great man, and pray to Almighty God to console his family and also give us more of the Obonaya Onus in this country, so that this country will continue to remain together. Thank you for your contributions. May we now quickly run into the prayers. Senator Idiot,
Sir?
I noticed you, if I stand up now, you will say that no woman spoke.
Yes, sir.
And so
I come under order 42, sir.
Let us finish with Senator Obonaya Onu.
Still on Senator Dr. Obonaya Onu, sir.
Okay.
This tribute will not be incomplete if we have nobody from the Southwest contributing to this tribute for Dr. Obonaya Onu. On this note, I crave your indulgence to please allow Senator Shuaibu from Ogun to speak for Southwest. Thank you, sir.
The Senate of the Southwest or Senate of Nigeria?
Senator of Nigeria. As you can see, Your Excellency,
it is the Senate of Nigeria that is paying tribute to Obonaya Onu, not the Senate of Southwest. But because of you being the Senate is gender friendly, read Order 42. Let me hear what you are saying.
At the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate. But no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in details to the President of the Senate when his leave to make it is sought. I therefore crave your indulgence to please allow somebody from the Southwest to contribute to this tribute for it to be, for us to have a complete tribute from the Senate.
Okay. Well, your point of order is upheld.
Thank you, sir.
Dismissed Senator Tribal, you may now speak on behalf of the Southwest Senators.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Shoaib Afolabi Salisu. I represent Ogun Central in Ogun State, Southwest Nigeria. You may be wondering why is a tribute in honor of Dr. Ogbonna Ayu is that important to Southwest. Every major achievement of this late great Nigerian has been related to Southwest. What I think you talk about is prodigious intellect being identified. It was at the University of Lagos he made first class in chemical engineering in Southwest. If you speak about stepping down to form a party, a ticket of national unity with Olufalaye, it was about Southwest. If you also talk about the APC, the merger of CPC, ACN, and AMPP, it also has everything to do with Southwest. Indeed, Dr. Ogbonna Ayu come from Southwest Nigeria, and therefore, we also want to stand up to lend our voice. What we are celebrating today is not the transition of an individual, a great Nigerian, someone of great intellect. No. What we are celebrating is more than the transition of an individual. We are celebrating at least three things. And it is important to emphasize this, particularly that we have students from two schools over there in the gallery watching us pay tribute to a Nigerian. We need to let them know, number one, that at a time people are beating drums of discord, dissension, and disunity, the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is celebrating someone for its being a bridge builder, and it's important to emphasize that. Either from northeast, northwest, southwest, we are celebrating somebody who's a bridge builder, and it is important for Nigerian youth to understand that at this point in our national history, we need more of Dr. Ogbonna Ayu. Number two, Mr. President, this man made a first class in chemical engineering. Sometimes you look at the people in the political class and wonder whether they go to school at all. It does mean that regardless of what you have achieved in your profession, you could also bring that into the political space. The man we are celebrating today is a symbol that of professionals in politics, and we must continue. No nation, the politics of a nation cannot rise beyond the politics of those who are participants. Every attribute, every encomium we have placed, rightly so, on this man was largely because he was also a man that was cosmopolitan. He had the best education from the best university in a different part of the country. The final one, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, is also the fact that no one here has spoken about the quantum of money demand made. We are not celebrating material things. It does mean you can make great sacrifices and contributions, even your bank account is very lean. These are the reasons why the people of Southwest want to commiserate with the people of Ebonyi State, the government, its family, and the political class, that we have lost a gem, we have lost a man of prodigious intellect, we have lost a bridge builder, we have lost a symbol of professionals in politics, and we have also demonstrated that it's not all about materialism, that can make sacrifices, you can make contributions to the growth of this country. No one here, whether from PDP, AMPP, APP, AC, ASN, or APC, has said anything except those things that are very, very ennobling about this man. The loss is not just for Ebonyi State, it's not just for political class. Nigeria has lost its finance. May God console his family, his associates, and the people of Ebonyi. And of course, may we all derive lessons and insight from the life of this great man. So I so submit on behalf of Nigerian senators from Southwest.
Well, I think, Senator Idial, I must thank you because his speech has justified your point of order. Sirs, thank you. You have encapsulated all that we should have said about this great man. Thank you. In addition, I want to thank Senator Antoniani for bringing this motion and bringing this to the fore of all Nigerians. Particularly what you said last, that the youths have a lot to learn from the life of Senator Obonaya Ono. It's not about wealth, it's not about fat bank accounts, but about a life of integrity, a life of patriotism, a life of service to your nation, and a life of sacrifice, even in the face of perceived political injustice. So I thank you. So, distinguished colleagues, let us go straight into the prayers. Prayer 1, observe a minute silence in his honor. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the federal government of Nigeria to immortalize his name. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, send a delegation to condole with the family, the government, and the good people of Ebonyi State and the Southeast in general. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. May we now rise to observe in silence in honor of this great man. May the soul of His Excellency, a first-class scholar, a consummate politician, a bridge builder, a great man of peace, Obonaya Ono, rest in peace. In line with prayer 3, we have a 7-man committee that will visit the family of late His Excellency Obonaya Ono to condole on behalf of this Senate with the family and the good people of Ebonyi State. Distinguished Senator Ashiru Oyerola Yesa will be the chairman from Southwest in view of what from North Central. Well, Ashiru will lead the delegation. Senator Bamoro will be a member of the committee. Senator Abaribe will be there. Senator Dixon will join the delegation. And the last speaker from Southwest, Senator Salisu Afolabi will be there. Distinguished Senator Ireti Kingibe will be there. And of course, distinguished Senator Shabi Alaji over there, the mover of the motion will direct accordingly and receive the delegation, direct them to the family and also to the governor of Ebonyi State. And of course, this should be done within the next 1 week. Leader of the Senate.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, the first business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Barau Jibrin on Renewable Energy Bill 2024 SB 431. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, the Renewable Energy Bill 2024 has been first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Renewable Energy Bill 2024 SB 431, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the second business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Pani Gohari on Federal Institute of Vision and Optical Research, ENIMA, Ogba Igbema, Ndoni River State, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 304. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, Federal Institute of Vision and Optical Research, ENEMA, Ogba Egbema Ndoni, River State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 304, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is presentation of bill standing in the name of Senator Dixon Seriaka Henry of Federal College of Education, Ekirimo, Bayelsa State, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 427. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal College of Education, Ekirimo, Bayelsa State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 427, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal College of Education, Ekirimo, Bayelsa State Establishment Bill 2024, SB 428, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is presentation of bill standing in the name of Senator Zam Titus Tatenga on Sickle Cell Anemia Prevention, Control and Management, Bill 2024 SB 428. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, Sickle Cell Anemia Prevention, Control and Management Bill 2024, SB 428. First reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is presentation of bill standing in the name of Senator Ndume Mohammed Ali on the unemployed youth, elderly and indigent sustainability allowance trust fund establishment bill 2024 SB 429. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, Unemployed Youth, Elderly and Indigent Sustainability Allowances Trust Fund, Establishment Bill 2024, SB 429, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of bill standing in the name of Senator Adebule Idiat Oluranti on the Sheriffs and Civil Process Act, Amendment Bill 2024, SB 432. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, Sheriffs and Civil Process Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 432, first reading taken.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Yes, point of order. Order words.
Mr. President, I rise under Order 41, 1 and 2. And with your kind indulgence, I want to read the order, sir.
Please proceed.
The matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. 2, if the claim is allowed by the President of the Senate and the leave of the Senate is given by at least 1/5 of all the senators, the matter shall stand over till the next legislative day. Mr. President, I crave your indulgence to bring to the knowledge of the Senate the carnage and mindless killing of my people a few days ago at Nimbo in Uzuwan local government. And with the kind indulgence of the President and my distinguished colleagues, I want to move this motion, Mr. President. The motion is sponsored by Ezra Okechukwu and co-sponsored by Senators Osita Ngwu and Senator Chukwu Kevin.
Distinguished colleagues, the Senator Ezia has mentioned to me the unfortunate tragedy that befell his community as a result of attacks by terrorists. Is it the view of the Senate that he be allowed to bring this matter up on the next legislative day? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may bring it up on the next legislative date. We are past this stage. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is second reading of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigerian Act Amendment Bill 2024, SB 265. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 16 November 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Adeola Solomon Olamilekan to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Senator Adeola Olamilekan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamilekan, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, I move for the lead debate on a bill for an act to amend the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, Act Cap 15, 1965, and for other related matter 2023 SB 265. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, as a proud member of this great institute of ICAN, I am happy to lead this debate, as what the institute tends to achieve is to amend its existing Act of Parliament, Cap 15 of 1965. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, permit me to lead the debate on this important bill for the amendment of the ICAN Act. The bill was read for the first time on Thursday, November 16, 2023. Background. The ICAN Act came into effect on September 1st, 1965, some 59 years ago. The Act empowered the Institute to set standards and regulate the practice of accountancy in Nigeria, in line with the dynamics of the environment, development in the economy, and changing the needs of chartered accountants over the years. It has become imperative to amend certain provisions of this Act, as well as insert new provisions to bring the Act up to current realities and ensure that ICAN remains adaptive, forward-thinking, and attuned to the needs of the nation. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, a total of 26 amendments / insertion are contained in the proposed amendment of the Act, affecting sections and subsections of the Act, as well as the schedule of the Act as set forth below, with rationale to guide the debate and allow its passage for second reading. There is a need to situate accounting practice to encompass developments since 1965 and to bring the practice to what obtained in other jurisdictions. Hence, the need to amend the Section 1, Section 14, Section 19, and inserting a new Section 15, all of which deals with the issues of accounting practice and all areas that a chartered accountant is entitled to practice under the Act. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, corporate governance of modern professional accountancy organization has evolved. Hence, the need to amend part of Section 2, 3, and 6 and inserting a new 24 to 26. For instance, Section 3 of the Act is proposed for an amendment because the Council of ICANN started off with a 25-member structure in 1965, when membership was just 250 members. The number has increased to 25,000 subsequently in accordance with the provision of the Act. With membership strength of over 53,000 today, the need to increase the membership of Council to 36 has become compelling. Additionally, the amendment aims to strengthen ICANN collaboration with other professional bodies and regulatory authorities, both at home and abroad. Such collaboration will foster synergy, knowledge exchange, and harmonization of the standard, guaranteeing that Nigerian chartered accountants remain at par with global best practices and their global counterparts. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, there is a need to enhance the capacity of the Institute to carry out its mandate in the area of regulation and compliance, and this has necessitated the need to amend Section 7, 8, 11, 12, 16, 18, 20, and 21. A glaring example for the amendment is Section 18.5 in the 59-year-old Act, a proven infraction on summary conviction of any of the offenses attracted a paltry 100 naira fine, while a conviction on indictment attract only a fine of 1,000. You will agree with me that this sanction for offenses that could lead to a loss of millions or billions of naira is...
Senator Adeola Solomon Olamilekon there leading the debate on a bill seeking to amend the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN Act, and other matters connected therewith on the live telecast of Senate plenary on the largest TV network in Africa, the Nigerian Television Authority. Earlier, the Senate paid tribute to the former Minister of Science and Technology, who died on 11th of April 2024 at the age of 72. That is Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu. And this is where we come to the end of today's live telecast. We thank you for your time. On behalf of the entire transmission crew, I'm Lami Ali, urging you to stay tuned as we resume regular transmission of programs. Thank you.